wash away my sin.
You ready? You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, theys, and gays. This is the Real Pineapple, and this is your humble host, Hunter, here. Happy, oh God, what is today? Thursday? Yeah,
Thursday.
yeah, it's Thursday. What is time anymore? So a quick story. My lovely guest, Zoe, who I will get to in a moment, is overseas. She's 8 hours ahead of me. And I thought that last night Zoe wanted to interview at 9 a.m. her time. And after going back through and rereading the messages, I realized the way everything kind of jumbled together. And I just looked, I was like, oh no, fuck, she means 9 a.m. my time. So it'd be 5 p.m. their time. Fuck. And then because I was trying to stay awake, like I was up until like 2.
Oh no.
And like I looked at the messages, I was like, oh fuck, we didn't clarify. God damn it, that fuck. And so
I'm so sorry.
No. That's my bad for not clarifying. But I'm really happy to have Zoe here today. So first off, good afternoon for you / early evening. I'll start off with an easy. Yeah, thank you. I'll start off with an easy one. How's your day been?
Oh, pass. It's been hard. It's been a hard day.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like,
sorry. I wish I could be like, oh my God, I just rode in on a rainbow from just like the best things in the world happening. But it's been like, you know those days when you're like, don't even ask. Yeah.
No, that's how we're feeling in the States right now. If it makes you feel
okay. So I'm continuing the tradition abroad is what's happening.
Fair. So I do have to ask, like, and we won't get too much into it, but is everyone overseas like where you're at laughing? Okay, so my buddy on the afternoon tune is asking why are you on the bottom? She's on the top because she's the guest, Joshua, and that's why guests come on here and they deserve to be showcased. So I am lower than my guest. That is why she is on top. If you have to ask, but anyways, actually, shout out to the afternoon tune. Go subscribe to them. They're great. I'm on there quite a bit. So yeah, they do a lot of movie reviews. Check them out. But is everyone overseas, like, are y'all laughing at us in the States? Because I have friends in Australia who are like, we are straight up laughing at your asses. And I'm like, yeah, I don't blame you. Like, we're pretty terrified over here. But yeah, is that the same case with y'all? Or
so I think the thing is, in Britain, the political situation is actually so terrible that people are just more like, it happened here. Like, I think people used to be laughing before Brexit, and then during Brexit, there were still a lot of people who were laughing because they were ignorant about what was happening. And now the situation's gotten so dire that they're just like,
like it's not funny anymore.
It's not funny. No, it's bad. And also, like, people in the UK are really incensed about what's happened recently with the censorship of Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert. And until recently, they didn't even know who these people were. I would mention them sometimes, and people would be like, who is that? And now I'm having people come to me and be like, aren't you outraged about this? And I'm like, well, yeah, but I didn't even realize you knew who this was. Wow. So, but people care. People definitely care here, it's great that people care.
Well, that's something that gives me a little hope.
Oh,
I have gone on multiple rants about that. I'll just simply say it's insane, and the history books will look back on this time, very, very not fondly, and will be very harsh as well. They should be. So actually, speaking of that, so we met last year at Cordillera International Film Festival. Shout out to Cordillera. You so I so t- and please correct me if I'm wrong.
mhm.
I remember your outfit was so fucking colorful. I was like, okay, they're cool. Like I feel like
Hold on.
I feel
Wait, here's evidence that this is color happening.
like, oh
Color.
my god,
There's a
let's
tree on
go.
this. I don't even know what's happening. There's like a fold. I got this dress in Japan. The hat is apparently like a thing that ravers used to wear in the 90s. It's like some kind of tie hat that was imported in the 90s and they just stopped making them. I like loud. What can I say?
So that is actually like, I mean, we're gonna obviously talk about the short, but as someone who's a big fashion nerd and has their closet organized, thank you, Leia. In terms of just fashion, like what inspires your looks in terms of like what you're wearing on stage? Because obviously we'll get into your singing, but because I mean I've seen you and stuff like that, but then some of your latest pictures, you have kind of this like Bowie, almost like Annie DeFranco vibe going, and I'm just like,
Ooh.
I'm like, okay, Zoe, but your looks are never the same, which is something I really appreciate. Like like you're going to different quadrants of fashion in terms of what you're pulling from. So yeah, what kind of inspires your style?
I think the thing is that like I grew up in the Y2K era and you can't escape
Fair.
that. You can't escape that, right? That childhood dream that there's going to be some kind of cyber future out there with Sailor Moon and some kind of helpful technology and like girl superheroes or just, that kind of positive futurism. And the way that it was just built into fashion, this kind of utilitarian uselessness, of like too many pockets, too many details, some kind of something that seems functional, but maybe we can't even imagine what the function would be yet. So I think that gets ingrained into you when you grow up in that. And I always found it really inspiring. And, I don't think we've lived up to that dream, but I like to.
Yeah.
It's, when I was a kid, I used to dream about VR goggles being invented. And in my mind, we'd get to go to like different realms that we couldn't even begin to imagine. And now we just get to go to realms we can imagine. So that's, it's fine, but it's not.
Oh, it kind of broke my heart right now. The way you
Sorry.
just no, like no. I appreciate I appreciate honesty. So no, I'm kind of right there with you in terms of like I thought I'd have a hoverboard by now. Like
Yeah, you should.
That was like my shit because I'd always watch Back to the Future and be like, which by the way,
Mhm.
that scene where Biff tries to essay Mark, I always block that out. Like kid me just didn't know, obviously.
Yeah.
But then
Oh, wait, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're still muted. Okay. You're back. Okay.
yeah, my cat was messing with the cord. Milo,
Your cat was
stop
like, I
that.
don't want to hear about the dark underbelly of Back to the Future.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sound like Mulaney over here. But rewatching it a couple years ago during lockdown, I was like, oh my god, why the fuck don't I remember this? And it's such a like, yeah, it's like it's insane how it's done because you're like what you're like, oh, you better leave, McFly, and you're like, oh, okay, well then why wouldn't he? Oh, wait, no, don't leave. That's a bad, that's a really bad idea. But I'm kind of right there with you with tech, where I'm like, I would love to be Iron Man at this point. Like, why do I not have an Iron Man suit? Like, why do I not have an Iron Man suit? Like,
This is a valid question. You're a taxpayer. Where's your Iron Man suit?
Dude, thank you. Yeah, exactly. Like, I should be able to fight crime. God damn it. Like, like, but I won't lie. Like, I've been playing Cyberpunk a little bit since I got it to actually work, and there is that like aura of like you like and God, I don't know how deep I want to get into this, but in terms of like class structure, how
Yeah,
you're
okay,
like,
go
okay,
on.
like the concept that you can go ahead and rise up if you actually want to do like the right thing. And I think that's something that I God, I can't think. I haven't even had coffee yet. I'm going on this, but in terms of like, in terms of like this generation,
Yeah.
I'm almost 40 people, which I saying that out loud just oh God. Um I have hope for this generation because I think this generation is just kind of over this shit, which you should be, by the way. I think
I'm
this
older
generation
than you think.
it's like I
Younger than
well
you,
I
but
got
older than you think.
I got carded. I got carded over the last couple of days, and I was like, oh, I needed that. Like that was a nice that was a nice little boost for my ego. But I think this generation is kind of over this shit. I think they're seeing how easily people are getting played, and I think there's gonna be a lot of art, like good art that comes out of that.
I hope
I am
so.
like, well, why look at people like you, and we took the scenic route, but I say all that to say, like, in terms of politics, in terms of like your worldview and what you're living in, how much does that like how much does that inform your art, whether it's directing, whether it's singing, whether it's songwriting? Because I know for myself, when I started the podcast, I kind of had the intention of just movies, just shows, like I'm gonna leave it there. But as the world became more fucked up, I found myself going like, okay, if I don't say anything, then I'm like Jimmy Fallon, and that's the last person I'd want to be like. So it's just
Oh
I
God.
like I need to say things on certain topics, otherwise I'm not being a good ally. I'm not being honest to my viewers. So how do you kind of navigate that?
I mean, I think the thing is that like people are always asking themselves this question right now is like, what do you do? The world feels like you're being bombarded. We are all being bombarded by fascism left and right, different kinds of violence, different kinds of oppression. And there's a limit to what any single human being can actually do about even one of these single problems. It feels like we've walked into a mountain range that we can't climb just by nature. Like we're just some guy in like, beach shorts and flip flops, and we have to scale multiple mountains. And so we're always asking ourselves, like, what are the things that we can do? And I think personally, um, I see the way people around me are discouraged. People care, the way people who care are discouraged and feel powerless. And I see the way that feeling of powerlessness, that the feeling that makes people want to quit their lives, gives people on the wrong side of everything power. And so my goal with everything I make and with everything I do is to have a community element and to actively be working to make things that uplift the human spirit and to actually be able to support other people so we can like communally fight through this and get to the other side. Because if we survive this and we find joy in this, we can fight back, because it's that refusal to give in, it's that refusal to be beaten down that I think ultimately will get us through this. But we have to be looking out for each other and each other's well-being and each other's mental health. You know what I mean?
That was wow, that was like beautifully said. Holy shit.
Thank you very much.
No, I think I've been at that point, especially this past year. This has just been a rough year in general. But I know for myself, like I have found myself just kind of screaming into the void on walks, which has been really helpful. Just like I'm sure people are like, oh man, that dude's losing it. But like I've been walking more than I have in like the last 4 years, like, and that's been like really helpful just to clear my head a little bit. And I know as we get more into like Oscars, like I love Oscar season, like as much as the Oscars have completely fucked things up, and that's a whole other conversation, but which I bitch about every year. Is that kind of how you feel like as a musician for like Grammys? Because like there really is no like
I don't even feel like the Grammys are even relevant to the kind of music I do at all. Like they have this kind of like alternative category, and they maybe give it to like Nick Cave or something. And like,
yeah.
there's like 4 people who are being considered, and it's almost like I don't even feel like the Grammys are really relevant for alternative music. Like it's sort of
Okay, that's fair.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. It's like people are looking to see if like Charlie XCX or Sabrina Carpenter are gonna win, and that's or like Lady Gaga. Like we all hope it's gonna be Lady Gaga, but or whatever. But it's like it's not like the Oscars are weird because like you'll have years where like indie art films oh god, what's her name, Celine Song's film, the one, the romantic film.
Yeah, past lives.
Yeah, like Past Lives will be going up against what was it, like a Disney film, what
yeah, I'm blanking, but like
it was
but
going like toe to toe with like Snow White or something, not that, but it was a different film, like, and that's the weird thing about the Oscars is you'll have this like very intimate indie film going up category to category with some massive studio film, and I think that that's like not quite how it works in the music industry. And film is so odd.
so like that. But like I guess and I've talked to other like musician friends about this. It's so frustrating because the Grammys, like people laugh at the Grammys, it's like okay, like whatever. But there really is no other award show musically that kind of has that cachet to it. So to your point, I think like if you're not in mainstream pop, you're kind of screwed in terms of like an award show that's going to give you the recognition that you probably deserve, like on the scale of something like the Grammys. Because like I remember, to date myself again, like I remember like if you won a VMA back in like 98 or 99, like that was actually a big deal. Like I still remember that was Gaga's coming out party was VMAs, like when she did Paparazzi and had like the blood like coming off of her, and I was like, holy shit, this girl is like I'm usually very good on my predictions, but I will be the first to admit I remember I heard Poker Face the first time, and I was like, oh man, this flavor of the month, and goddamn, I could not have been like any more incorrect. Like I thought Poker Face was
the only song I thought that came out that year that was a top 40 hit that was any good was Crazy by Gnarls Barkley, and I thought everything else would just fade away.
Yeah, like I remember like I had a couple friends actively saying, oh my god, Lady Gaga's great, and I'm like, oh god, Poker Face is so annoying. And then I heard Just Dance, and I was kind of like, okay, this is better. And then I heard Paparazzi, and I was like, oh, okay, like all right, fair enough. And as someone who, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, so the thing is, like, when Gaga first came out, like, I was like 12, 13 years old, right? And I think, like, much in the spirit of Gaga, I was a very like anarchical, angry young person who was very into like Jefferson Airplane and Patti Smith, and I was not, and like Syd Barrett, and I was really not, and Nina Hagen, just like Gaga, I was like obsessed with Nina Hagen, and I was so not into like top 40 pop music. I was like, fuck the man, like who cares, like protest the school, and I was like, this is stupid. And then when Art Pop came out, like I saw the vision, and I'm embarrassed it took me that long to understand what she was about, because I've gone back and watched like all these old videos of her and become like completely obsessed with her work. And I'm like, she's been on this incredible wavelength since the beginning, and I didn't understand at the time because I was young and naive, or just ignorant maybe, or I just wasn't reading the signs and signifiers. And I've like read her writing about like where she's coming from and her philosophy, and it's so brilliant. Like, I'm not gonna like sit around and gush about how amazing Lady Gaga is, because I feel like that's not it's not such an interesting interview, and we all agree, like,
but at the same time, I think you have artists like that where like that's kind of not to the same degree yet, because she's still like newer, but I really didn't get Sabrina Carpenter at first. Like I was just kind of like, okay. But then so one thing, and I want to talk music with you on this level, because like I grew up very much in like and this is something I really miss. I grew up in the record store like era where like you go to a store, wow, Jesus Christ. The Afternoon Tune saying Hunter uses his disco stick too much. That is none of your goddamn concern. Why are you putting my stuff out in the streets? Josh, god damn it. He's just mad because I beat him in fantasy football this past weekend. But anyways, but I grew up in the record store era where it's like you actually had listening stations, and like Tower Records and
Oh God, I missed that. That was fun.
and like Sam Goody, to like really date myself. Like I still remember going in and listening to Nirvana on a listening station. Like I still remember hearing Come As You Are, and that like my brain being like, wait, who is this? And like asking my dad, and him being like, oh, it's this band from Seattle. I'm like, oh, can we get like yeah, and that's how my dad, yeah, that's how he put it. Yeah. But it was just like, oh wait, can we listen to this? Musically for you as a kid. Oh, go ahead.
I don't ask me your question, because I have a feeling like what I'm about to say might actually just be an answer to this. It's possible. Let's see. What's your question?
So like musically for you, like what are your earliest art music like listens that like you can think of when you're a kid? Like that kind of
This is more interesting. This is a more interesting question than what I was going to say. This is more interesting. Okay. So when I was like 5 years old, my mom gave me her old tape player and all her old cassette tapes from when she was from like the mid 80s. And when in like before she met my dad, she was like, not immediately, just like before she met my dad, she was dating this guy who was like 10 years younger than her, and it was like the early to mid 80s, right? And so he got her turned on to all this new wave stuff that she wouldn't have known about otherwise, because she was just in a different place in her life. So she gave me all of those tapes, and I just took the Depeche Mode and all that stuff, and I was like, no thanks. And she gave me some stuff that she loved, like James Taylor, and I was like, too sad. And then she gave me Nina Hagen's Fearless, and I was like, that's the stuff. And like, if you don't know what that is a German post-punk new wave operatic disco album. It's still one of my favorite albums of all time to this day, but I listened to it so much I wore the tape out, and they didn't release it on CD until I was like 12 or 13 years old. And when they did, I had like a full-on manic episode, because it brought me right back to that place of joy from when I was a kid, and I couldn't stop listening to it. And if you think you were alienating when you were 13 in school, imagine that is the album you're obsessed with, and everyone else is listening to Rihanna. And then the few people who aren't listening to Rihanna are listening to just like Led Zeppelin or the White Stripes. And then you come in with like German operatic disco post-punk new wave. Like, you're gonna be an alienating type. Yeah. But that album is great though. And it has, going back to your earlier like thoughts about like hope in the future, she has a beautiful message of peace on that album. And in general, it's quite unhinged, but it's like the album's all about like connecting with the universe and life forms that are larger than us. There's one called Flying Saucers, and how they're going to teach us peace. I'm already intrigued. Okay. It's very like sci-fi witchy in its themes, and it's sort of this fun kind of sexy, crazy time that when I listen to it, I feel like I'm connected to a larger universe, and it feels very powerful, and it's fun, and it doesn't take itself seriously, while also being like, it feels ironic and also like testing the boundaries of what's serious and what's a joke, in a way that I find very fun. And she's an incredible performer as well. Like if you look up Nina Hagen, Ziggy Stardust, she did a cover of that live. That's so crazy. It's like,
okay, I'll have to check that out.
I almost like it more than the original, which is crazy because I love David Bowie. But her cover is, so that's one thing that when I was a kid, I was really into. And once in a while, my mom would just drop a CD on me at some point. And it wasn't even necessarily something she was into. Like when I was like, maybe a couple years older than 5, like maybe like 7. We were in Tower Records, dating myself.
R.I.P. Tower Records.
R.I.P. And she found Madonna's Like a Virgin album, and she was like, I've heard good things. You should check this out. Because like she was too old to like give a fuck, but she'd heard good things. And so she gave that to me. And I'm so glad I grew up with that, because the production on that album, I didn't realize this until I was much older and got started thinking about these kind of things. But like the production on that particular album and on Madonna's early albums in general, it like completely revolutionized music production. Nothing sounded like that until that was made.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Those are great tracks, and that's a great album. And then like at around the same time, she gave me Cyndi Lauper's She's So Unusual, which once again she did not know. And
that's not something you should
And that, I think that Cyndi Lauper more so really was instructive in how you can make something that is commercially viable while also not giving a tiny rat's ass about what that even means. Like just being completely authentically yourself in a way where you want to make music that people can sing along to and can dance to, but you're just doing it because that's what you organically want to do. There's a complete authenticity there. She's just so authentic, and her lyrics are really weird. They're really great.
Oh
and
yeah.
She's such a brilliant, inspiring person. And she was 30 when she came out with that first album.
Yeah, which I think gets lost in the translation there a bit. Like I mean, I think there's a case of a lot of like artists who end up doing stuff like later in their later in their life. Like I think, and this might be insane to say, but I think Bowie's last album is actually his best one. I've listened to Black Star, like I've listened to Black Star a lot. And it kind of has that Johnny Cash, like you like that aura around the album. To your point on Madonna, like while I'm not a huge Madonna fan, musically, I still remember when like something like Ray of Light came out. Like there wasn't stuff like that. That's like that was such a change in direction for her, but that was a change for like music generally. I think you're freezing. Yeah. I think you're freezing a bit.
Connection. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I lost you. Okay, wait. You're saying something.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, you were saying something about Madonna. Okay. Saying,
so
you're not necessarily a huge Madonna fan. There was something about something.
Yeah. So I think in terms of like her production and everything, like to your point, she had such a unique sound that people kind of like she was ahead of so many curves in terms of just music, and that's something I don't think she's given enough credit for generally. Like obviously I think she's had some slip ups more recently in terms of music, but I mean I still remember hearing Ray of Light and being like, oh wow, this is actually like that popped to me.
Absolutely.
It makes me laugh really hard that you brought up James Taylor, because that's actually one of my favorite artists. Like I fucking love James Taylor. I
love James Taylor. I had to hit puberty to understand why anyone would listen to a sad song. I was just this little disco kid. I was this 7-year-old child who wanted to be Donna Summer, and I couldn't understand why anyone would listen to.
But that's someone amazing to want to be, though.
I know, right? And it was my dream. I was like, oh, she has this beautiful deep voice. I want to grow up to have a deep voice like that. And I didn't come into my voice until I was older as well. Like I was maybe in my late teens before it set, and I was just there praying, like, please give me a nice mezzo soprano voice. And I was like, it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. And then it happened. But like as a kid, if you had played me like Fire and Rain and Hot Stuff, I would have been like, why would anyone listen to this song when you can listen to Hot Stuff? Like it didn't make any sense to me.
I mean that's fair though. Like like for me musically, I grew up with so much different stuff. Like I was listening to James Taylor one day, and then Stevie another day, and like Donna Summer one day. But then I'd be listening to like I was into the whole comic book thing before it was like a cool thing. And so being a Black kid in a predominantly white area, I don't think I saw another Black family like in town until I was like 12. So I was reading comics. I was like, I had Pokemon cards. I was like, I was reading Black Panther like before, like in like 2000. And then I'm listening to like Nirvana and like Sting and Lyle Lovett and like Annie DeFranco, like just my music taste is just all over the fucking place, like, you know, listening to the Ramones and shit. So like I would have like kids being like, what are you listening to? I'd be like, oh, like oh, I'm listening to the Ramones. I'm listening to, you know, like I'm listening to, you know, I might be listening to Aerosmith. I might listen to Metallica. It's just like I find it hard to kind of limit, not even limit, but like my music definitely changes in mood. Like, but then I started listening to film scores. Like I started listening to film scores and shit, and just being like to be even more pretentious. Was there?
No, I'm right there with you. The amount of times I've listened to the score for Juliet of the Spirits, okay. Hey, you don't
Nice.
get more pretentious than that. That's peak. We've hit the limit. The meter broke.
When so because we're talking music, you're an artist. You're playing shows. Like I can't wait to see you perform live. Like I listen to your stuff, but I really do want to see you perform live because there seems to be an energy. There's this one shot of you with like goggles on and you're like screaming in the mic, and I'm not gonna lie, it's one of those shots I would like think of seeing like on an alley for like a poster, like for like a
Oh my
like a
God.
show, like it's one of those shots where I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so fucking cool.
So nice. Thank you.
Like it made me like really happy when I saw that shot. In terms of like your prep for a show, like how does it differ from you wanting to go ahead and like, you know, perform versus you doing a film? Like is the prep different? Is the traditions different? Like how do you kind of approach that?
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Oh, okay. So the prep for doing a show is relatively easy. We have band practice. I practice the songs, get together with the band, practice the songs on my own time, do some vocal warm-ups, figure out what I'm going to wear, usually the day of, because I'm still deciding until the day of. There's probably going to be goggles involved because, once again, cyberpunk, Sailor Moon, you know,
Fair.
how it is. And, you know, not every single time, but usually. And then, you know, sound check, play the gig. And I think the thing is that most of what I do on stage, I don't really know what it is or has been until I see videos, because I kind of go into a trance and I'm like, I think I bent backwards and unplugged something.
Okay, yeah, no, like that's honestly how I feel when I do interviews. Like I kind of not zone out, but I'm just so in that space that when I like, and I hate going back and watching my shit. Like I'm very like when I first started editing things, that was like the biggest hurdle I had to get over because I hate my voice so fucking much. And hearing it back, I'm like, oh,
I'm so sorry.
oh God, yeah, I'm like, oh God, is that what I sound like? And oh God, why? Like, and I get very analytical in that way. Like, it scratches part of my brain I just don't like. But like depending on the interview, like I don't really prep. Like I always wanted interviews to feel like a conversation.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
but like when you're doing a show, like are there these moments like maybe in between songs where you're able to kind of like pop out of that trance and realize like what's going on, or are you just like laser focused like in the moment?
Like sometimes when I'm singing, it'll come to me an idea for a joke to make in between songs.
Okay.
And then I'll have to refocus. But the thing is that if I don't stay laser focused on what I'm doing, you can hear it in the vocal delivery. Like I won't connect as much with the audience. Like the meaning will fall flat. So basically, if you're not super present when you're singing and you're not completely connected with what you're doing, then the words lose all meaning. Because I think like when we're just out here talking, we mean to say everything we're saying. We haven't like planned it ahead of time and thought about what those words mean. We mean it in a completely like authentic way. And so it has to feel that way every time. So you don't necessarily have to be like thinking about what they mean in the moment, but you have to feel completely connected to it. Otherwise the meaning just disappears. And it's like with a film, oh my God, what is a film if not extensive prep work? It's, you know,
yeah, that's fair.
so it's like I'll draw the story, I'll write the script, and then there'll be the billions of script revisions, and then there'll be like I mean, it depends on the project, but I'm always going to draw my own storyboards because I have that skill set and that ability. And I'm the kind of person, if I can do something, then I'm just going to do it myself because I have no money. And also it's fun. And why not? And it's great. And it's fun. And also it's like, what's a more effective way to communicate your vision for what this is going to look like than literally drawing it out if you have that ability. So I'll do storyboards, and then, you know, then there's casting, and casting could be anything from like going on like Backstage or Mandy or whatever to, asking like a musician I know who has an interesting stage presence if they'd read for something, or just someone I know who has a vibe. And I work really closely in film with my mom, who's my producer, my mom, Cindy. When I first started making films, I asked her if she would help me out because she has this extensive background in as a fashion photographer's agent back in the 70s and the 80s when she was like one of the major agents for fashion photography. And then
that's so
she
cool.
was a fashion photo stylist, and it's all being a photo stylist, especially at that time, it's really a similar skill set to produce. It's producing a shoot. That's the thing. So it's a different kind of shoot, but it's still producing. And so she's got this background, and she ran her own business for like 20 plus years. And so she knows how things work. And me, I'm like this little flower child or what, I don't know. It's not fair to say, but it's like when I started making films, I was like 24, 25 years old, and I didn't have this incredible expertise that she had on like how the world actually works. And I was like, I really want to do this, but I don't want to fuck this up. Will you please help me out with this? I need some expertise on how things actually come together. And I mean, she had never produced a film when we first started with the first film, Inevitability, but you know, we figured it out together, and we just love working together. We really share a creative vision. She always pushes me, because I tend to, I'm on one hand a perfectionist, and I'm on the other hand like kind of like a it is what it is sort of person, which is I think the more dangerous of the two, to be like, it's good enough.
Okay.
And she'll see that and she'll be like, no, push it harder, push it further, because she knows that I can go there if I do it. Which is great, because you know, everything should be pushed further. If you can push it further, then do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I so like to make it about myself for a moment.
No, go on, make it about yourself.
Like when I started doing the podcast, it was very carefree. Like, you know, we'll record, we'll record, hit the button, stop, cool, we're done, upload it, we're good. And then there was this point I started listening, and I don't listen to many podcasts just because I just don't like. Maybe it's because I do one, but there was just this point where I started listening to other podcasts a little more regularly and going, okay, I'm not hearing ums in their shit. I should probably start editing the ums out. And they have an intro song. Should probably do an intro and an outro song. Okay. And all right, maybe I should get a better mic. Okay, I should probably do that. And then before I knew it, I was like, oh, all right, I care about this way more than just a kind of throwaway hobby. I'm actually kind of but honestly, I never even expected it to be at this point. Like the fact that I'm even doing interviews with people is something that I would have laughed at 8 years ago. It's like, really, people would come on this like dog and pony show and like talk about their art? That's so weird. Like, why would people do that? In terms of you, like, was there a point, like, were you kind of locked in early on as a kid where you're like, I want to be a singer, like, full stop? Or was that something, because like straight up, this didn't come to me until maybe, 18. I kind of like the concept hit my brain because this old website, spill.com, shout out to spill.com, they're now double toasted, but they were doing like animated movie reviews. It was like this group of four guys who I've had the pleasure to meet and are all lovely, but these four guys based out of Austin, they're doing like animated reviews of themselves. So it's like, oh, that's really unique. I've never seen that. And like that was when YouTube was really starting to blow up and being like, oh wow, that's really cool. Movie reviews, like awesome. And then like it kind of just went away. Like I was like, oh, okay, I'll keep watching these. And then like around 24, 25, I was like, well, maybe I could do this once and just kind of see. And then before I knew it, it was like, oh, now I'm having people come on. I'm doing, I'm doing this every week. I'm doing it just kind of evolved, and there was this point where I was like, oh wow, I really fucking like this a lot. But it was something very, like later on for me, like through college. How did that journey kind of come about for you in terms of being like, I'm going to be a singer, like I'm going to get into this?
Okay, so this is actually the weirdest story ever, because nothing about this makes any sense, and it's completely nonlinear. So I grew up in a family of musicians. My mom, same mom who did all the other things. She's also a retired professional opera singer. And my dad has only ever done one thing in his life, and he's a classical composer. And I do not come from a family of instrumentalists. I come from a family of people who sing and compose, which is a different vibe, because when you like meet people who come from a family of like instrumentalists, they grow up playing instruments and they have an obvious knowledge that they're a musician, and everyone in their family is a musician in a really easily accessible way, because they play some instruments and they play with their family, and everyone's like, hey, you play music. And it's really sign signifier obvious. When you grow up with in like in a family of singers and composers, you're going to be singing and composing, and you don't know until you actually have to intellectualize what that is what you're doing, because it just it will feel natural. It will feel natural, and it's not tangible in any way. There's no visual to it. So, I was writing songs from the time I was a kid, but I didn't have any kind of comprehension that was not a thing that people just did. And
yes. Yeah, no, sorry, real quick, just my parents, my dad was a musician and my mom sings. And it's like when I heard that people didn't like do art or create art in their houses, that was just such a foreign concept to me. I was like, wait, what? You don't sing? You don't sing in the kitchen? Like you don't put on Temptations and like have a fucking you don't sing those songs again? Like that was something that was just like, because like I didn't get the musician. Yeah, but I was like, I didn't get the musician gene. Like I was writing poetry for years, and that was like my artistic thing. And learning other kids didn't do that, I was like, wait, what? Am I weird because I do this and like y'all don't? But sorry, continue.
And I kind of had this childhood fantasy that maybe I'd be a singer or something, but I was really actually in many ways very shy growing up, and I just never really put myself out there. And I also have never been passionate about learning to play instruments. So I can play bit of guitar, a bit of piano. Like it's nothing you'd want to hear, but it's like I'm very late. It's nothing you want. It's only for the purpose of writing songs, really. It's like nothing you want to hear. But like very lazy about it. And it took me forever just to get to a place where I was like adequate with the guitar. I did play piano actually as a kid. I was like a recital pianist as a little kid, but my eyes are incredibly bad. I have like double vision, and it wasn't diagnosed until I was about 13 years old that I had an extended eye muscle, and I couldn't see straight at all. So I couldn't read the music because I couldn't see it, because my eyes wouldn't come together. And so my teachers would yell at me, and it was kind of a nightmare, and it just sort of ended. And I always kind of wanted to learn how to play the piano again, and then I never did. And then earlier this year, I moved into a place that had a piano, and I just sort of sat down at it and realized that I could figure this out. And so,
let's go.
It just sort of came together. I mean, I wouldn't like call myself a pianist by any means, but for the purposes of songwriting, yeah, I can do that. So, I mean,
that's
whatever.
amazing.
I don't know. It is what it is. But the thing is, like, when I was 13 years old, younger, when I was 12 years old, I became really obsessed with manga. And I decided that my thing was going to be, I was going to learn Japanese and learn how to draw, and I was going to move to Japan and become a manga artist. And the crazy thing is I actually did do that. I went to college in Japan. I went to Kyoto Seikei University, where I studied writing and drawing, specifically gag manga, so like comedy-based manga.
Yeah.
So I have a Japanese language comedy and art degree. It's really specific, and it actually, it's a funny story, because the reason I became so obsessed, I mean, I loved manga to begin with, but I became extra obsessed because I started having these dreams when I was about 13 years old that I'd be like walking down the street home from school, I'd take a wrong turn and I'd end up in Paris, and then I'd find this bookshop that would sell the most beautiful manga I had ever seen, but I'd never seen anything like it in real life. And I'd wake up and the book would be gone. And I dedicated my waking life in this time of early Google, to like relatively early Google, to figuring out, with no Japanese language at the time, figuring out what the real life equivalent of what I was dreaming about would be. And I figured out it was going to be most like shoujo and josei manga from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, and sometimes 80s. And also, the thing I think it looked most like really was probably the original manga of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind that Miyazaki wrote to finance the film. But I became heavily obsessed with vintage shoujo manga, to the degree that I started a Tumblr blog at the peak Tumblr.
Tumblr, let's go.
I was Tumblr famous. I used to be Tumblr famous. I ran a blog called Fehyes Vintage Manga, Fehyes Vintage Manga. It's still up there. It's 1 billion pages long. And from the time I was like 13 years old, 14 years old or something, maybe about 14, I was just like, I was doing this. This was my life. And I became kind of just like an expert. I would meet people from other countries who knew about my work. It was pretty crazy. And
that's amazing.
And then I applied to university in Japan, and I applied in 2 departments. I was like angsty and edgy. So I thought like, I'm going to write story manga. It's going to be dramatic. And the entrance exam for the story manga department, it was I can't even remember what the prompt was, but basically it was like you have 2 hours and you have to draw five rough pages, like based on the theme. And I did something that probably didn't make any sense. It was really lame, like just very teenage angsty, right? Like, and then for the gag marker department, which I was applying to as my safety department, in case I wasn't a genius of edginess, edgy angstiness, which I wasn't. This is one of my favorite stories actually. Is the theme was they were like same thing, 5-page roughs, rough chapter, draw 5 pages, write 5 pages on one of these themes. And they gave a list of words, and I'm not one for blue humor. It's not my thing, but they had toilet, and I just had this inspiration in the moment. And okay, so in Japan, there's a kind of toilet that's called an otohime toilet. Otohime is a play on words. In general, the word otohime means youngest princess, but the way it's written in Chinese characters for this particular brand of toilet, it means sound princess, because when you go and use this toilet, a beautiful sound plays and no one can hear what you're doing in the bathroom, and it, for modesty's sake. But once again, play on words, youngest princess, sound princess. I had this idea that the week of my entrance exam, it was a holiday called Shichigo-san. 753. It's a coming of age holiday where, little girls dress up in traditional dress and, look grown up, and it's a whole ceremony, right? And so my idea was, I'm going to take this very topical holiday and this particular kind of toilet, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell a story. I was obsessed with 1980s Japanese pop music at the time. I still kind of am, but still love it, but not city pop. Everyone's like, oh, you mean city pop? I'm like, I like that. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about, like, for people who know, like Akina Nakamori and Rebecca, and like basically stuff that like not very edgy, juvenile, delinquent, aspiring punk teenagers would listen to. Like kids who thought they were tough but weren't tough. Yu Hayami I loved. A lot of dance music, a lot of like Japanese language New Jack swing, let's be real.
Okay.
So it's very specific genre-wise. So Seiko Matsuda is like arguably the biggest pop star in Japan from the 80s. And she was a real like goody two-shoes kind of like pop star in a way that I just found irritating. It wasn't my thing. And so I thought, I'm gonna like make fun of a national icon in a teasing way, where in the story, she has 2 daughters, because it's topical, 1980s pop star, obviously, but she's still a household name. And so in the story, she has 2 daughters, and one of them's 3 and one of them's 5, like the holiday, and they have to get ready to celebrate the holiday. And she asks the 5-year-old one to help the 3-year-old one to get ready, but the 3-year-old one is an otohime toilet, in other words, youngest princess. So she's the youngest princess, right? And the youngest princess is super spoiled and gives her sister a super hard time trying to get makeup on her toilet seat. And like, I got into that department. They were like,
wow,
what kind of American girl is this? Who, what? What? And so I spent 5 years living in Japan, writing and drawing manga, and I got really badly injured from drawing way too much. I drew like 12 to 14 hours a day and got tendinitis. I got tendinitis in every finger, carpal tunnel in both wrists, and an injury in my left elbow. And I had never been interested in movies prior to living in Japan because I thought cinemas were too loud growing up, and I wasn't really vibing with it. And also, I just didn't consider the movies that my parents showed me to be movies, because the movies that the kids at school saw were like not analogous. Like I grew up with my parents showing me like old Hollywood movies and like comedic European art house films from the 1960s and 70s. And I was just like, that's not movies, It's like, okay, that's not a movie. That's not what people mean. Everyone's going to go see Crossroads. I'm going to go at home and watch Bringing Up Baby. Like, it's not the same thing,
I'm happy you bring. So what's funny? Like to kind of piggyback off that. I was kind of in that ilk when it came to music, especially with pop music, because like I would listen to like it was almost like I had this Jekyll and Hyde thing kind of going, because I'd be listening to like Pink's like There You Go. Like I still remember hearing the Goo Goo Dolls' Iris when City of Angels ended, because Nicolas Cage's dumbass decided to live for Meg Ryan, and then when she gets hit on the like, spoilers for City of Angels, sorry if you haven't seen this like almost 30-year-old movie, but I remember I was trying to do math in like fifth grade, Arithmetwist. I still remember the name of the goddamn book. The books were terrible. They were shitty for children, fucking traumatizing as hell. And I was like, for hours looking at this book, trying to figure out these math problems. And my mom was like, you need a break. Let's watch this movie. And I had no idea why. I was like, City of Angels. What the, like, why am I watching this? And then Meg Ryan gets hit by the car on her fucking bike. And 11-year-old me just started weeping. And like the actual like release of me being so frustrated by these math problems and Meg Ryan and Nicolas Cage not ending up together. It was like this perfect storm of me just being like, oh, what is happening? And just like, and like, it kind of broke my brain in the best way. But
parenting advice.
Right, yeah.
Advice. When your kid's having a nervous breakdown about math, make sure to show them City of Angels so that they just can start.
Exactly. Just help your kid cry. That's basically what we're saying here. But I was watching stuff like there's this Jeff Bridges movie. Jeff Bridges movie. It's him and Rosie Perez. This movie called Fearless, where this dude
oh my God, I love her.
Oh, she's fucking amazing. But he
I used to turn. Okay, wait. I went to film school during the pandemic, and sometimes I used to turn my camera off on Zoom and just watch videos of her on Soul Train dancing and just copy her. That's what I used to do.
I love that. No, okay. So first off, throwing out a Soul Train reference, like as if I couldn't love you more. But I remember watching that movie specifically because he has this survivor's guilt because he basically gets in this horrific plane crash and all these people die and he's the only survivor of said crash. And so basically he's essentially trying to kill himself throughout the movie because he's just like, I don't deserve this. I'm like not a good person. Like, and I remember watching that as, you know, like I was like 9 when I watched that. And I remember that score in particular. And it really is about, you know, life and like, you know, being grateful for it and but like 9-year-old me watching that and that just being like, whoa. And that being like this kind of like movie moment where, you know, something like Lion King, why, you know, I love stuff like that. It's like, oh, there's this whole these other sections of film that are way, you know, and then of course that led to, you know, Fincher down the road and you know, like, and stuff like that. Also seeing Silence of the Lambs when I was 5, that was like a giant,
no. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
No, honestly, it was kind of one of the better things because it was one of those things where I was like, oh, like people, like sometimes people are just like straight up just like vile. Like sometimes like you just need to have those but watching Anthony Hopkins,
though.
But watching Anthony Hopkins be I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
No. I just want to say, like, that's just really interesting that like that it was cathartic for you as a child because it was important for you to not be constantly bombarded with things that just told you people were good at heart. That it was important to know that sometimes people can just suck. Like there's no hope.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because like to this day, clowns scare the fuck out of me. Like if you're a mime and you follow me around, like I will punch you. I do not do that shit. Like, but also silence weirds me out in a way, like depending on how the silence is presented. Pennywise still freaks me out. Like that is something like it is a hard line for me. I've done over almost 1,000 reviews. The one review I am not on was our review of It because I had my friends help. It was 3 of us at the time. And I refused. I was like, I appreciate my sleep. If I watch It, I will not sleep. The Tim Curry one fucked me up enough as it is. I saw Skarsgård do that eye thing, and I was like, yep, fuck that. Nope, not even attempting to watch it. But
totally off topic. I just saw this movie from 1989 that I hated, and I was wondering if you have a take on it. It's called The Church. It's an Italian horror movie that was produced by Dario Argento, and people have hyped this so hard.
I have not seen that.
Oh, no. I was hoping you had. Never mind. Just forget I even mentioned it. I was hoping you would be like, oh, this is what I think of like this, that, and the other thing. If you watch it, tell me. I just like send me a review. I want to know.
Okay, I got you.
It was a numb slog through that, and it was like I feel like it's a failure as a Gothic film. But anyway, back to what you were saying. I'm so sorry. Just
No, you're good. So like what I'll like. Okay, I'll throw out a very random thing. I think The Goonies is such an overrated movie. I don't understand why people like it. I watched it maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and I was just sitting there. And I was like, why do kids like this? Like, why is this good? Like, what? Like, because I had people tell me, "Oh my god, it's a classic," and like you don't even understand how good it is. And I was sitting there watching it. And I was like, like, all right, like
Gremlins. Just throwing it out there. Gremlins, still great.
yeah.
Gremlins is great. Just love that.
No, I would way rather watch Gremlins than watch oh my god, Goonies. That's the one. Yeah, I just never understood it. What up, Vile Council? Just never clicked with me. But I think in terms of like movies and to kind of throw it back, I didn't really expand my music repertoire or my film repertoire until like really like my senior year of high school. And that's when I started going to like I used to have, again to date myself, I used to have like the Blockbuster movie review book, and I would like read that in middle school when we would have like our reading time, and I would literally just read plot synopsis on certain films and reviews. And like I grew up with Siskel and Ebert. That was like my like 9-year-old me was watching Siskel and Ebert and just watching Gene Siskel get progressively pissed off at Ebert when he would just like, it was always funny when Ebert would watch like some horny film and he'd be like trying to defend it, and Siskel would just be looking at him like what the fuck is wrong with you? And as a kid, like I didn't obviously get it, but just watching Ebert try to defend these things so passionately and seeing Siskel's brain just like trying to do gymnastics, not just reach across the table and like choke him. I found that like as a kid, I found that so fascinating. And
you know, it'd be so cool if you did now is if you actually like reviewed old episodes of that. If you like rewatched their reviews.
I would love to watch old, like well it's funny because like between like stuff like that and a very underrated show that's on, I think it's on Tubi or Pluto. I think it's Tubi. But John Lovett's The Critic. I used to love that show as a kid, and it stinks. Like that was like, but I not the best Lovett's, but I realize like kind of in the way you did with music, so much stuff that I watched as a kid was so weird, and then like going back, like and like kind of going back and realizing, oh wow, you had like, I was rewatching, to really date myself, there was this kid show on Nickelodeon called The Adventures of Pete and Pete, which was like kind of like Wonder Years-esque, but it had these like very weird, like there was a superhero in the show like who wore like these striped pajamas. There was this guy who delivered ice cream named Mr. Tasty, and he just had like a cone for a head. Like it was just this like weird ass stuff that happened in this town. And I watched the show like it was fucking normal. I was just like, oh yeah, this totally exists. Like
any 90s cartoon was made by someone with a vendetta. We don't know against who. They had like a boatload of drugs that we don't even know the names of anymore. They were like still being developed at the time. Like they had a friend who worked in a lab, and they're like, try this, see what happens to your brain. And they're like, cool. They're like, maybe it'll help with all your rage. And then it never did. and then they made like Courage the Cowardly Dog or something.
Okay, so like I think that is straight up one of the best gateways to horror for a kid. Like if you're trying to get a kid into horror, Courage is where I would start most people, like most kids. I mean, which like
scary show.
I know
that
like,
episode with that evil photographer guy where he just kept like going like this and being like,
yeah.
That still scares me to this day. Even I can't do that.
A lot of the shit ages really well. Like so I was watching The Tick and Space Ghost at the same time, and I remember like in retrospect, like because I can still watch the shows and find so much enjoyment, but going back and rewatching them and realizing so many of the adult jokes that 9-year-old me just did not comprehend, and going, oh, this makes so much sense on my humor. Why why I like Adult Swim shit. That's so like that's so weird. Why something like Archer, hits for me the way it does, or other stuff. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that that I'm not the only one who kind of had that.
I think those shows when broadly speaking, we were kids, because there's like overlap here. Like they were kind of brilliant, because a lot of the time they just really weren't being targeted at children at all. They were just sort of passively targeted at children. So I really, as much as this sounds antithetical to everything else I just said, I really did grow up in front of television. I really did. I watched every single channel that had children's television programs. I watched Nickelodeon. I watched Cartoon Network. I watched the Disney Channel, and I watched sometimes what's it, Channel 12? Is that the one with Totally Spies? You will know exactly how old I am by the end of the interview. You'll know exactly what year I was born by the end of the interview. But mainly I watched that channel for Totally Spies and Braceface. You will know exactly how old I am by the end of the interview.
I remember Braceface. Yes, yes.
But I watched every show you could watch, like anything that was on. If I managed to wake up in time to do anything before I had to run out the door for school, television. There was one show I would actually actively wake up to see before I left, and it was, I can't remember what it was called, but these kids were stuck on a desert island, and all I remember is they canceled it pretty quickly, but there was like one episode where they just missed hot dogs so much. And one of the kids figured out how to make like hot dogs out of coconuts. And then when the other kids realized what it was, it just shattered the illusion and devastated them. And I still think that's such a horrible thing to me. Like, what is this Werner Herzog animated sitcom? Like, you know what I mean?
It was animated?
Yeah, it was just an animated show about kids living on a desert island, unable to get off. It was kind of like, what's it called with the people living on the desert island unable to get off, but they were like, what if we made this for kids? And it was in the 90s.
I don't know that.
What's the 60s show with everyone stuck on the desert island?
Oh, you're talking about Gilligan's Island?
Yeah. It's kind of like, I think the concept was that, but all children. So much. Oh my
God, that's horrifying. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like Werner Herzog's Gilligan's Island animated series. If anyone knows what this is, please tell me, because I've never.
Yeah, no, I'm actually curious. Yeah, if any of y'all know, please let me know. I'll also throw out Pee-wee's Playhouse. That was because getting while I have my issues with Tim Burton, that is a show that has meant so much to me, and I Pee-wee's Big Adventure is one of my favorite films of all time. I fucking adore the film. Pardon me, as I lose my voice. So all that to segue into Feel Nothing, to Feel Nothing Inc.
Yes.
When you told me about this, you flat out said, "You're like, friend, this is weird. I'm just warning you." Like, that was the first thing you said. You straight up were like, "This is weird. I need you to know it's weird. Like, please don't judge me for it." That I'm literally quoting your message. You're like, friend, this is weird. Like, it's really weird. Please don't judge me for it being weird. Like, that's literally what you sent me. I remember just laughing and being like, all right. Like,
think before I speak ever. Like, people keep telling me things I've told them. I'm like, wow, I have no recollection of anything I've ever said.
but I mean this as the highest compliment. It's my sort of weird. Like, I really like, I mean, what that says about me is a totally separate conversation, but I enjoyed myself. And I think my first question would be, because I kind of felt the way that I felt when I was watching something like Blade Runner, like 2049, where I'm like, okay, someone clearly was like, wow, technology pisses me off, but we kind of have to live with it. Like, as I'm watching that, I'm like, okay, this is talking about relationships. Like, what headspace were you in when you started writing it? I let me start there.
Okay, so the story behind this is actually kind of hilarious. So I went to film school for a year before I dropped out, because it was cliquish. It was like, they actively discouraged me from making my own films. Not me specifically, but everyone. It's like, it was all just, but I had already made film going in, and it was on the festival circuit by the time I was done with my first year. And I was like, don't need this. It's not really working out. But it was during the pandemic, which makes everything so much worse. And I wrote the script for this as a term project for a studio shoot. And the thing was that I had gone out with this guy in my course 3 times. And, you know, I'm new in town, I don't know any people. Like, why not? He seems nice. A lot of the dialogue is verbatim things that we talked about on dates.
Oh, that's okay. So straight up, as I was watching this, I was like, this feels way too like
specific.
Not to say that you're not an amazing writer, but I was like,
No,
as someone who's like I don't think I could write a script. Maybe I could, but there are certain things that I'm like, oh yeah, she's pulling from real life shit there.
I think probably the Nurse Ratched thing, it's got to be, right?
So
he really did say that.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like the please.
What were you gonna say? You're not gonna lie. Wait, no, I want to know what you were saying.
Like the context of talking about like Anya Taylor-Joy, that was something in particular where I was like, oh dude, like because like the character, the woman in the short, she's giving him a chance to take the off ramp, and I'm just sitting there as a dude watching. I'm like, dude, just take just take the off ramp, man. Like she's giving you an out. Like, please, for the love of God, because like I because I feel the date going like so badly, and I won't lie, I have this sick way in terms of like seeing like train wrecks in terms of conversations, because as a dude, how do I put this? I find it fascinating to watch men talk themselves. Like, okay, like I know what you're saying, yeah. But like, there's so many times where I'll just see someone out. I'm like, dude, all you have to do is just be cool, just be chill. Like it's fine. Like just chill out. And I see people talk themselves out of a second date or just out of any future communication, and I'm just like, oh my God, you're making this so much hard. Like, I understand that like it's hard in general, like because I think people are disconnected in a way with like dating apps and stuff like that, which is a whole other rabbit hole we could go down. But I'm like, this woman is gorgeous, she's cool, like just stop being dumb. And he can't stop being dumb, but I got fascinated with the ways that he couldn't stop being dumb. But as I was watching it, I was like, oh yeah, Zoe's pulling from a date, maybe multiple dates. And I'm like, oh no, like I have to ask her about this because it's so cringe.
Okay, so I'm going to tell the story of like what the film is about and then go back to the source material. So basically, the film is not literally something that happened to me because it's magical realism and it couldn't. So basically, these two people are this very mismatched young couple is walking around London indecisively, incapable of picking a place to go, and they are seemingly lured back to this antique cafe where no one seems to work, and you never see them enter. They just appear inside of it. So they'll be walking around different parts of town, and every date they'll somehow end up at the same place, even though they're in a completely different part of town. They'll end up inside. You'll just hear all these bells and all of a sudden all these door chimes, and they're inside, and you'll never see anyone serve them. The same creepy record plays on repeat over and over again. And every time by the way. Thank you very much. And every time they go in there, they're like, the beginnings of a relationship become more and more doomed. And I like to think that it's like a horror movie where nobody dies or anything. Like, do you think it's cool if I like spoil the end, because it is a short film?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Basically, it does end with her just kind of invalidating his existence and gaslighting him to his face, that she just basically questions his existence to his face and draws on him as if he's not a real human being. And I didn't do that. It would have been cool if I did. I didn't do that. It would have been nice. Obviously this didn't literally happen to me. It would have been cooler if it had, but I was trying to, so I did write it around the specifications of this idea that we had to make it predominantly shot in a studio. And it was COVID, so you couldn't really have extras or anything. And when I went to make the film, years later after leaving film school, and I just wanted to make another short film, I made it the same with those same ideas, because I thought it was actually really weird and in a good way, and that if I changed that, it would make it less weird in a bad, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be as interesting. Yeah. That it has a feeling of alienation that's relevant outside of COVID, and this kind of disconnected exterior sense that like in a like there's a scene where he's on drugs and she's not understanding what this is all about, and you see it completely through their joint point of views that are like, it's just two POV shots walking down the street that are overlapping at the same time,
which
and
I
you never
which
see
I
them.
love. Yeah, I was really high when I was watching it last night,
Perfect.
and that shot in particular was like, I was like, oh, we're getting to like that Hendrix shit. Like, I really like that. So
Shout out to the
props on that.
composer of the film, Jimmy Gardner, who's like unbelievable guitarist, unbelievable composer, and yeah, he did something incredible for the score of this film. Oh my god! But yeah, so like some of those concepts were originally created as a way to work around the fact that we couldn't shoot really any meaningful external scenes, but I think it's so much more interesting than just
Agreed.
What if they were walking down the street and talking. So it's like I leaned into that instead of going the opposite direction and trying to like work backwards. So yeah, so it isn't, you know, I really did go on 3 dates with this guy. A lot of this is really stuff he said to me. I think like for me, the weirdest thing, and that's in there that he really did say, is that we really were like trying to get through this dark alley holding his bicycle over our heads, like trying to basically scaling a wall with his bicycle. And he did start talking to me about the show Ratchet, which at the time was relevant because it was on the air. And he was talking about this scene where this guy is like this woman is masturbating this criminally insane guy through
give like a hand job to the bars. Yeah.
And he was telling me that he is attracted to this, like he wanted to be the woman. He's like, does that make me gay? And like everything about that is a ridiculous interaction. It's like, why is my opinion on your sexual orientation even relevant? Like, but he was one of these guys who was always bringing up, like, who was always trying to figure out if I thought he was gay, and he really was in a relationship, and it didn't kind of initially come up. And it was really odd because it's like, are these dates? Are these not dates? What the fuck is this? What are we doing? This is a waste of time. Like, what do you want from me? This is stupid. And but the funny thing is that both of the actors are bi, and they both, when they read that, they both turned to me at the same moment. They're like, he is gay, and I'm like, this is who you should have. Here's your audience. They know. They'll tell you you're gay. There you go. The bisexual actors have it. And I thought I really wanted to write that particular thing in, though, because I actually think it's so disturbing and specific in a way. Like, you don't see that in fiction represented. Like, I think people sugarcoat reality even when they're being gritty in fiction, and they're like, well, I'm not going to write it that. like I'll write it a lot, but I'm not going to write that. And I was just like, because I don't want to write the next Fleabag or something like that. Like, that's not my sensibility. I want to write something that's like a little bit dreamier or more fun or romantic, but I would like to just have hints of the sensation of being alive viscerally on this earth in whatever made up fantasy I have. So that's
fair.
I'm not trying to be gritty, I'm just trying to be honest. Let me put it that way.
How much honesty, how do I put this? How much honesty is too much honesty, or is that even a thing? Because I know, like, myself, like I've shared, I mean, I'll be real, I've shared some things on here that I'm like, oh wow, I said that to a microphone, and then I'm just kind of like, whatever. But also at this point, I've been doing this so long, I'm kind of like, I don't want to say numb to it, because that sounds like it's kind of a bad thing, but I'm almost just kind of like, it is what it is. Like, I'd rather be honest with my audience. I mean, obviously there's certain corners I'm like, okay, I won't like, I won't share that, but I've shared a good amount of stuff that I'm like, like, I think one of the first big things I shared, like, something about like a one night stand I had that ended horribly, and I remember like saying that on mic and just being like, oh, I just said, oh, all right, well, it's on there now, and I just kind of went, whatever. And I don't really believe in editing that shit out. Like, it's like, it's there. I'm gonna be honest with my audience and kind of just let it be. Yeah, how much honesty is too much honesty in terms of like doing something like that, in terms of what you're pulling from, like if you're pulling from your own experiences?
Well, I'm not saying the guy's name, so I think that's probably fine.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm drawing the line, because I think like that would probably be inappropriate. But the thing is, I think that honesty across the board is really important, because I think that it's the natural enemy of shame, and shame is the thing that keeps good people in prisons. It also it makes bad people angry, and it makes good people trapped. I think that's the thing. And I think, like, you see in, like, the world we live in, like, political leaders and, fascists who feel shame, they lash out because of that shame, and they become more violent. And I think you see good people around you every day, kind and caring and empathetic people who feel disempowered because of that shame. And that shame was going to come from a secret more often than not. Like, you look at, like, the secrets that people hold in the world we live in like high office, the anger and vindictiveness that comes out of that. Whereas, some kind person who's maybe been victimized by someone, and they feel that person's shame, and they keep that a secret. Whatever you feel ashamed of, if there's any chance that you can let that go, whatever you feel like needs to be kept a secret, if you can let that go and be okay with people looking at you differently and accept that that's their problem and not yours, I think it'll be a better world if we can just be more honest, not in a vindictive way, just in a freeing way. It's like, I'm not trying to bring this guy down. He was just a dick. It's not important. It's not like, it doesn't matter. It was just a good story. It's not about that. It's just that he shouldn't be out there being like, oh no, everyone's going to get me because I'm kind of weird. Like, it's like, or like, I wasn't like a good boyfriend to my girlfriend, like whatever. It's like, he shouldn't be out there afraid of that. And I shouldn't be sitting around feeling bad about the fact that we just didn't connect. It's like, you just got to kind of laugh about things or let them go. And sometimes you can't laugh about things because they're too dark, but like, you got to just just set it free. That's what I think.
To piggyback, just because it's a fun, I think it's a fun bad date story. So I went on a date with this girl years ago. This was like a decade plus ago. So I was like 25, 20, I was like 26. And I and I went on the date with this girl, and she was like really cute, and I was really excited. I was like, okay, yeah, like, hopefully this goes well. And she ended up being late, which, by the way, people, like, don't be late for a first date. Fucking plan. Like, I know shit happens, but like, I think that's the rudest shit in the fucking world. But so she was like 30 minutes late. So I had like a beer, and I was like, okay.
What was her reasoning for being super late? Was it
I don't even remember.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember why she was even late. But I had like a beer, and then like I had a second beer. And she ended up quoting scripture to me about drunkenness. Right. And I like, wow. in my head, I was like, oh wow, so this is DOA. Like, this, there will be no second date. I remember because I got off of Match.com that night, and I was like, okay, like I think more ratchet people are going to be on OkCupid. I'll do OkCupid. I was like, maybe that's more my speed, and that ended up being more my speed. But yeah, me in my mid-20s was fun. But I remember coming home to the message on Match and being like, yes, I will not be proceeding. That's a term she used, and it still to this day weirds me out. I will not be proceeding forward. That was the term she used.
Those two words mean the same thing.
Yeah,
you don't need to be. You can't be proceeding backwards. That's
right, exactly. But it felt
it's faux legalese, is what it is. It's like she's using faux legalese to get out of seeing you again, which is. It's like she went to a fake law school, like on a made-up island.
Yeah, like it really felt like a first draft of like dismissing someone. Like, it was a very but I remember reading that and being like, wow, bitch. Like, how, like, where do you, and like, I still paid because I was a gentleman, but I was like, wow, you couldn't have even been like not shitty, just been like, hey, like, thanks for dinner, but hey, like, I'm not interested in, a second date. Like, that would have been way more like, as opposed to I don't want to proceed for, like, it was such a weird way to phrase it.
People and honestly, just say things honestly, just be like, I'm not feeling the connection, I'm sorry. Like, it's like people are so afraid of just saying something that might hurt someone else or reject someone else that they'll actually do much more hurtful things than just say, like, that's less hurtful than what she did. And that, I think that across the board
Agreed.
is like a weird thing in dating and in just human relationships, is instead of just people being upfront and just straight in like the kindest way possible, they'll just say some crazy shit. And it's like, that's much more, or just run away. It's much more detrimental than just being honest, I think.
Agreed. And but also I will say too, dating now, like I like, it's gonna sound so old man, but I was my one of my friends, Bradley, a shout out to Canada. He's got oh god, I can never remember how many kids he has. He has 11 kids. 11 kids? Yeah, 11 kids. I think that's right. So he has kids in it, right. So he has kids in like high school right now. And I straight up was telling him, like, dude, I remember going through puberty when MySpace was a thing, and like, and having those like conversations of like, oh wow, like that, like, you know, oh god, someone didn't like this post, oh god, I'm gonna spiral, and oh god, do I look like fat in this picture, and like those conversations that like a
Yeah.
lot of teenagers obviously
Mhm.
have. But that was '01. I can't even imagine being a teenager in this day and age with all the technology and all the shit that's being thrown at you, and all like I don't know how kids do it. And it just, I again, I'm sounding like old man here, but it's like I like being that overwhelmed visually, this overly stimulated with like, you know, AI, and like I don't understand how kids can do it. And it's like, it's got to feel just exhausting, and my heart really breaks for kids in that way, because
I think the important
yeah,
thing to remember for everyone at every point in their life, because this also does affect people who are like older as well, because the social media culture is so prevalent, you could just kind of opt out of interactions you're not interested in. Like, if you don't want to
yeah,
play games on social media, if you don't want to go through this whole thing, it's like, oh my God, are they looking at my stories or like whatever? You don't have to do that. Just like, if that's what the dynamic is with another person, you could address it, or you can just move on, and you don't have to. There will be someone out there, multiple people out there, who will be like, yeah, I don't like that vibe either. And then you just proceed with your life. It's like, you don't actually have to know. Like, I think a lot of people feel like they're forced to engage with certain dynamics because of the way these structures work and because of the way most behavior is. But actually, you just don't. You can just keep on moving with your life and just find someone else to interact with.
yeah.
Never forget.
Yeah.
Never forget.
I have gotten more comfortable blocking people over the
Yeah.
last couple years than
Oh yeah.
yeah yeah, there was
Yeah.
I'm just not even engaged. Like, now I will be the first to admit, sometimes I see someone say something stupid, not even sometimes, often I see someone say something stupid online, like, you know, like, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take 30 seconds out of my day and say something to like hopefully piss you off. I will admit that's the vindictiveness in me that I am, like, admittedly trying to somewhat work through, because that is, you know, that is a dangerous pit that you can just kind of fall down and spiral. Admittedly, something I go back and forth on, but I've just gotten more comfortable using the block button, just being like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
stupid. Yep, not engaging with that. Just
Yeah.
moving on. Like,
And you know,
blah, blah,
like
blah.
at the end of the day, like, the better use of your energy is like, forget that you're never going to change that guy's mind. That whoever that is like just some douchebag, and it's like, call up one of your gay friends who's having a panic attack. There will be one. Just call them, talk to them. That's it. Like, that's the better
Yeah,
use of the energy. Find
that.
Figure out which gay friend's having a panic attack today and help them out. Be there,
Yeah.
and that's better than arguing with that douchebag. So.
Yeah, but perfectly said. In terms of you, and as we wrap up here, what is the thing artistically, as a director and as a musician? I'm gonna ask that two-part in that way. What is the thing that you're the most proud of that you've achieved as a director and as a singer?
Oh God, that's really difficult. I've gotten very close at times to getting my first feature off the ground. I've written 3 feature screenplays, one called My World at Night, most recently, then The Weather Just Got Sexy, and Hanging Gardens of the Sea and Sky. On some level, I'm proudest of the fact that Hanging Gardens of the Sea and Sky was one of the top 10 screenplays in Francis Ford Coppola's American Zoetrope, because what the fuck? And how
That's
cool is
fucking
that? I'm
amazing.
sure that shouldn't be the soundbite, but also
But it
yeah,
should, but
probably
also should be the
It
soundbite.
also
Yeah.
should be the soundbite. And it's really cool. And I'm just proud of the screenplays, and I'm just working to, you know, get the other two can be made for much lower budgets, and I'm working to make one of them as my first feature. And I mean, I'm actually just proud of the fact that I'm just doing it and just trying, and like I've done the work of writing it, and I've made the short films, and I'm just out there doing it. And it's like a crazy industry right now. It's uncharted waters, but like trying, I think, is worth being proud of. Being in the process of doing it is worth being proud of. And then in terms of music, I had to figure out as an adult how to be a musician. So like okay, quick tangent, right? Do we have time for tangent?
Oh, I literally have I literally have nothing set aside until tonight. So like literally whatever you want to talk about.
So I dropped out of film school to make a film called We Are Bleach that's like 24 minutes long, and it has an original soundtrack. It's like kind of a crazy whole thing. And it was on the festival circuit for like 2 years, right? And when I went into making the film and I dropped out of film school and I lost my student loans, I was like, I'm going to be super broken and have no money to live. So I called up an old client of mine. When I was a teenager, I used to teach his kids art. His name is Ian Dench, and he is the principal songwriter for the band EMF. They did the song Unbelievable, a big hit in the 90s, but also he then went on to be like a gun for hire songwriter who wrote songs like Gypsy by Shakira. And I just happened to have been, right? And I just happened to have taught his kids art and kept in touch with him. And I was now in London, and he had moved back to London, and I met up with him at the museum, and I was like, hey, I didn't even clock the fact that I was writing music at this point because it was ingrained. Do you know what I mean? It was like, everyone hears music. Like, that's just normal. Like, everyone, you know what I mean? I was like, but I know I can write lyrics. So I was like, do you know anyone who's looking for like a lyricist to work with? I'm happy to do it just to get myself out there. Like, it's not even like money. It's not even an issue of that. I just want to try and break in. He's like, well, why don't we go to my studio and write a song together? I'm like, holy fuck. Yes. Damn. And so we met up the next week. I went to a studio. We wrote one song. Like, I brought in a mood board. I was like, I don't know what to do. I brought in a mood board. He's like, cool, mood board. Now let's write a song. And it's like, you know, I was coming from a film background. I'm like, well, I guess I need a mood board. You know, like and I had like 2 different mood boards, like for different kinds of stuff. Anyway, so we wrote a song called Fork Throne that was just us figuring stuff out, and we had so much fun that he was like, let's do it again. And I'm like, yes. We wrote 15 songs, we did 15 demos, and
holy shit,
most of the songs I have out are from those are like based off of those initial 15 demos, and most of the songs I do live as well. And basically, though, he got back together with his old band. He was like, goodbye, I leave you with the demos. I'm like, okay, I think these songs are really good, and they probably deserve to be like produced and heard. And now I need to figure out how to be a professional musician to actually do justice to the work that we did together. And on every level I had to learn that meant. So whether it was like learning to be passable at any instrument, or just doing a lot of terrible open mic nights where I was like singing along with a backing track to try and get my chops as like a singer or a performer or anything, bombing in front of Carl Barat from the Libertines with a backing track, forgetting that's how I met him. He was standing 3 feet away from me. I forgot the words to my own song, and his wife figured it out and helped me. His wife Edie, she helped me figure it out. She was just like she because it was repetitive.
Amazing, though.
She was super nice, but it's like, you know, when you've bombed in front of a rock star, you kind of, it makes you less afraid. It's good. If my advice is bomb in front of a rock star, do it. You get that over with. And then, but like, I had to figure all that stuff out. And then like the business element and I was working on this feature film, The Weather Just Got Sexy, which we ran into like, we almost shot it. And then just like classic snafu of all the blocks got pulled out from under us, and so we're working on repackaging it again. But meanwhile, like, it was like very exhausting to have to like be 2 weeks away from shooting it and then get the production shut down, right? And when that happened, I just kind of needed a break from everything. And what I did was I started hanging out in a music scene. I had been hanging out in a music scene, and I started hanging out in a music scene full time. And because coming out of making We Are Bleach, which was set in a music scene, I was like, cool, I can do that. And I got really involved. And then when this film kind of came undone in that respect. I just became kind of a full-time adult scenester. And what I found was, as I got a band together and started actually putting my music out, I knew all these people in the music scene. I was like accidentally just like, you need to know people to like be in indie music. Like you need to like know other musicians and know the clubs and know the bookers. It's like, oh, well, I made friends with all these people by just hanging out, and that just kind of came together.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
so I think the thing I'm proudest of is probably look, I'm very proud that I headlined the Windmill Brixton and the Victorian Dalston, two of my favorite clubs. Very proud about that. But I think I'm more like, in a sincere way, I'm just more proud that I have continued to pick up the pieces of like a billion calamities, because everything in music is like moving parts, disappointments, things falling apart, things not working out, and just not letting it get me down when things don't work. Like honestly, I'm more proud of that. But I'm very proud in the way that you want to hear, like in an interview, like, oh, cool. Like I'm very proud of headlining the Windmill and the Victoria.
Which I'm gonna need so okay, that is actually something. So like for me and others who cannot unfortunately get there, you how do you go about like sharing footage like of those shows? Like how does that kind of work?
Well, I have a friend called Swan, who's a really lovely guy, and his Instagram is Brit's Got Groove, and he is just this really supportive dude who takes amazing videos on his camera and records the audio. He'll go above and beyond to just figure it out, and he'll if he likes someone and what they're doing, he'll just show up and he'll shoot it. And so he's shot some really amazing footage. I'm about to put up videos from my recent headliner at the Victoria on the 29th of August for the release of the Greenhouse Edith music video. Yeah, I'm really proud of that. I came out with a music video for my song Greenhouse Edith and Her Smoking Crow, and it took me like 2 years to make it, which is funny because it's taken me a shorter amount of time to make any film I've ever made than this music video, because I was like, I'm not going to direct or produce this.
So why the difference in length, like between like,
because I didn't direct or produce it. That was the issue.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and I was in retrospect. Now in the future, if I ever make another music video, I'll be like, oh no, I will definitely make another music video. But when I do it, I'll be like, I'm going to direct and produce this.
Fair.
Because like you need someone being like, we do this, it's done. And yeah, I just didn't think I could like act in front of the camera and direct at the same time throughout. But you just have someone on set directing on set, and that's fine. Like my friend Kalia, who directed the music video on set, like she's amazing. And if I'm like, hey Kalia, will you shout out to Kalia Lyman, amazing director, who directed it on set, and then I worked with an editor in London, and he edited himself, like no input from me. I was like, it needs to be sexy. He's like, great, got it. His name is Jack River. He's the front man of the band Sweet Unrest. Like really an amazing team. And also the costumes for the music video were designed by my friend Freda, whose name is also Tsai Feng Cho. She is like maybe the greatest, in my opinion, from what I know, the greatest fashion designer and costume designer in Taiwan. She is like a young, brilliant human being. She did the costumes for my film We Are Bleach, and she's one of my dearest friends, and I love her so much. Thank you so much, Freda. There's actually so many people I want to thank for so many things. It's like would go on forever.
We got the time. If you want to shout out a couple more people, go ahead.
But what on earth was what was the question? I'm sorry, I got so distracted thinking about how cool Kalia is.
Yeah, no. I was talking about like in terms of like what you're most proud of as a musician versus being a director. That's where we were at. I
mean, like, look, definitely, I'm not gonna lie and be like I'm not proud of the cloudy things, because fuck yeah, we should. I wasn't good at sports as a kid. Like, come on, you got to have a win at some point. But I'm really I think I'm proud of the tenacity. In a completely honest way, I'm proud of myself for just like forging forwards against all odds, because these are not, no one who looks like they're doing this with ease is. It's just not a thing. It's just difficult. And anyone who seems to be winning all the time is fighting a billion battles you will never see. So yeah, I'm proud of the Coppola thing, and I'm proud of the Windmill, and I'm proud of the Victoria, but I'm like also just proud of like the continual fight that I do on a daily basis. So
what helps you to like unwind? Because like I know for myself, like I'm in this weird space where I haven't done a proper audio review since, or uploaded anything since March. Like my Spotify has been, and that's when shit really hit the fan with me not working and everything. But now, months later, I'm at a spot now where I'm working again, thank God. And now I'm in a space where I feel like I can actually create and like enjoy it again. But I have this weird relationship where, you know, sometimes I'm just so like, you know, I'll use this example. Like when George Floyd got killed, I was really angry and I was like, I need to get on mic and I need to say something about this. And that's almost become my default. Like if I see something that happens in the world, you know, like the Pulse nightclub shooting, I was like, okay, I need to get on mic and I need to talk about that. Like when things like that hit, whether it's, you know, 2 people that listen or whether it's, you know, 1,000, I feel like I need to put my voice out there on certain things. Like, but it weirdly also helps me unwind and kind of try to make sense of the world, because at least I can control what's happening in here. How do you kind of unwind, and do you have a way to kind of like disconnect from your art so that you can kind of find that peace, or are you always kind of in that mode where you're wanting to create? Because I kind of go back and forth on that myself.
So I actually don't have a good answer for you because I found myself at the victim of my incredibly competent personality, where I find that 95% of what I do is actually managerial work and admin. And I don't get to create as much as I want to because I become obsessed with productivity. And do you have advice? Because it sounds like you have a better balance here. Like what do you advise for people who struggle to prioritize their creativity?
So I'll be my big thing has been it's been really trying to allow myself grace, and that for me is really difficult because I am admittedly like not even the persona, because that's not the right word, because like I'm not playing someone when I'm on microphone. Sometimes admittedly I might turn the dial up a little more. Like if I'm reviewing a Tyler Perry movie because I fucking hate him, like I might turn the dial up a little more than usual. So I mean, in that sense it's a little performative, like slightly, but what I'm saying is true. Like when I say that I want when I say I want Tyler Perry to go fuck himself, like that's not that's not a bit. That is me straight up being like, if I ever met. But my rule, and I'll give this little peek behind the curtain, I would never say. My dad was always very big on this component because I grew up playing a lot of basketball, and when you grow up playing a lot of basketball, you hear a lot of shit talk. Like you hear like very pointed. Like to give an example, when my dad passed, someone, like I still remember this guy literally saying I guess like the basketball gene didn't get passed down to you. And I remember being so fucking angry. Like, yeah, no, it was one of those things where I was like,
really dark. That's not like shit talk. That's like,
it was, it was like, but that was like one of the first times I remember going, sometimes people will legit intentionally cross a boundary. And I remember being so incredibly pissed off. Like I got so focused, and I was like kind of like with your kind of like when you were in college and you were drawing so much that like you like hurt yourself. I was shooting baskets to a point where like my mom was like, you need to come inside. But I was so angry with what they said. I was like, now I need to make sure that that I'm great at this, like no matter what. When I first started this podcast, I had someone straight up say like, you'd be lucky if one person listened. And it was one of those things that was like so deflating in the moment, but I've always been very good at being like, to quote South Park, kind of like my Butters Professor Chaos moment, where it's like, I'll show you, and like lightning strikes. It's I find those kind of avenues, and try to use as motivation. I mean, not to say that's not fucked up, because saying something like that to someone is incredibly vile and just in cruel, especially because you need to find the way to kind of find your way to kind of make your art. So, but what
in a positive way, actually, if one person does listen to what you do, it's huge, because then it's great. Because if it wasn't great, then not a single person would listen to it. But if you have one person who cares about what you're doing, then there will be more people. You just have to find the more people. But it's a huge deal when even one person cares. It's a huge deal because that person represents so much, like an individual, so much more than ourselves. Anyway, you were saying, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. But like, like to kind of go back, I never expected to be doing I never expected to be doing interviews. I expected to just do my review, throw it up on SoundCloud and call it a day. I never thought the podcast would be on Spotify. I never thought I'd be doing solo reviews. Like when my colleagues were like, hey, we're kind of done doing this, like 7 years ago at this point. And they're like, yeah, we just don't want to do the podcast anymore. I had to have a real conversation with myself of, do I like doing this enough to do it by myself? And I remember the first, I'd say 10 to 15 solo reviews were really rough. And I remember like editing them and being really frustrated. I was like, it's just not fucking clicking. And when you have co-hosts and you're so used to having feedback for like jokes in the moment, especially, it makes it easier to keep that rhythm. And so when you don't have that instant feedback and you're like, oh shit, was that funny? Oh God. And then I kind of start to like Scott Pilgrim spiral. I'm like, oh God, like, was that funny? Someone gonna hear this and be like, oh, give me a break. Oh, this guy sucks. And like, I really started to like shame spiral in that way. And then this movie, this very propaganda movie, Unplanned, about like abortion, like the woman who was like the head of Planned Parenthood at the time, or one of the heads, and like became a Christian and decided to save the babies. And it's just I roll. I reviewed that, and it's still one of my favorite reviews I've done. It's about an hour of me just ripping this movie apart and saying like, man, we make things rough for women. Like we can't even pay them right. And then it's like, oh, your own body, fuck that. Like, and I just went on this diatribe where I couldn't stop talking. And when I remember I looked down at the timer and I saw that it was like 58 minutes of me just ripping this apart. And I went, oh, there it is. Okay, I can do this. I can do this by myself. I don't need to have other people on to do reviews. Like I got this. And like that was kind of like a sort of moment for me, because I really didn't think I could do it. I think that's where I kind of land in terms of like the separation, because I'm very bad about giving myself grace and being like, hey, sometimes this may not just work in the moment, but you can always come back to it. That's how I disconnect. So I've learned that like sometimes I'll sit down to do a review and I'm like, I'm not feeling it right now. And so I'll get up, I'll go for a walk, I'll smoke a bowl, I'll play with the cats, I'll play a couple rivals matches, and then I'll come back and be like, okay, now I feel like I'm in the space. Also, setting has become a really big thing. Like right now, it's gonna rain here in a couple hours. I love when it rains. Like I just find like a peace and kind of a kinship with it. So when it starts to rain, I'm gonna get some recording done. But I would say setting has become like I didn't really realize this, and now I'm remembering this in real time. Like my dad would always he would actually like write in the closet.
Was your dad a writer?
He was he was a writer, and he sang and he played guitar, which I try to learn guitar, and god damn it, I just could not, like my brain just isn't wired like in that way to learn an instrument. I always
guitar is
wanted
a crazy instrument. It's only for people like it only really clicks with people who are really good at math. I'm really bad at math, so I'll never be truly good at it, I think.
Same. I'm horrendous at math. Yeah.
Keys.
So.
Try the keys. It's just up and down. That's it. Straight across. That's it.
Well, it's funny because I'd always get the whole like, "Oh my god, you have such nice hands." You're like, "Do you play piano?" Like, I heard if I had $1 for every time I'd be rich right now if I had $1 for every time
It's just right there. Everything's right next to each other.
Um, but that was
I'm
something
sorry.
that like no, you're good. But like I remember like I'd always be like, "Why do you write in the closet?" He's like, "I find a peace in here, like when I'm just kind of away from everything." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And as a kid, that never really clicked. But like if I sit down with like my water or my coffee or like a beer or whatever, and I have like a joint or I have my pen and like I have my LED lights on and I have like like synth music playing, or like maybe I'm listening to like Annie DeFranco, or I'm listening to Paramore, or like I've been on the big Ramones kick recently. Also a lot of Bad Religion. People musically, I'm all over the place. I told y'all that I was dead serious, but I find like setting my mood is what's allowing me to disconnect, because I don't have to create. Even if I'm setting the mood, I can just kind of relax and let ideas potentially come to me that I might want to do down the road. Like I'm gonna do like a film series on directors starting next year. So I'm gonna go through like all of like Spike Lee's filmography because there's some blinds. So
That's
like
I love his early
like
films so much. Sorry.
same. So like
so
no, you're good. Like I have Malcolm X on Criterion. Like that's that's become like kind of my new thing. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start buying Criterion movies here and there. Like so like I'm gonna probably rewatch Flow, because like being a cat dad, like Flow made me fucking weep last year. Like I couldn't stop, like which is a core memory now because Milo has never really sat down and watched a movie. He jumped on my lap and watched the whole movie with me. And so I'm crying because he's in my lap, and I'm crying because I'm having this like experience watching a movie about a cat. So I mean, I have those little things, but I really find that setting has really been an important thing that I didn't really realize until the last couple of years, where I haven't been working and trying to set myself up for success. I realized how long of a fucking answer that was. The tangent I just went
It's not
on.
an easy question. You know what? It's not an easy question.
But yeah, that would be my answer. Like allow yourself some grace, because like there are times where I really do sit down. I'm like, I'm gonna knock this out. I'm gonna get this done. I'm gonna get this done, and I'm just not in the headspace to do it. Like maybe just the weather is off, or maybe the cats are wanting to play, and I'm just like, okay, fuck, I don't want to force it. Like I never want to force my art. So
Yeah,
I would rather
absolutely.
so I'd rather wait a little longer and then do it,
Mhm.
and have it come out the way that I want, versus being like, I'm gonna get this done no matter what. I don't care like what headspace I'm in, and then just like pushing through it, because that feels like that doesn't feel pure to me, and I always want my art to be as pure as possible. I hope that makes sense.
I know exactly what you mean. It's a difficult one because like sometimes if you push and you push through and you make inspiration happen for you, you can get something great. But I think the best things I've ever made, I made when I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for inspiration, and then I felt the right thing, and it's like I'm of the mind, and different people have different needs and different practices, but I'm of the mind that I'd rather wait and have like basically a creative drought and wait until something really meaningful hits me. I'm okay with that. I mean, I kind of wish that wasn't who I was, but I think the product speaks for itself. You know what I mean?
No, agreed. And I will say, like, I'll kind of shock my system a little bit. So like this month, I'm gonna be doing like a bunch of Halloween reviews, because I do this every year. Like, so like I haven't seen the Saw movies. I'm gonna watch all of those. I'm actually gonna start those probably later. I haven't seen the Final Destination movies. I'm gonna start those. I own the Evil Dead groovy box set. I've never watched Evil Dead, so I'm gonna try to get through the Evil Deads by Halloween. Oh God,
You're
what
gonna be
else?
very busy.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's that's with the Oscar stuff starting to hit my inbox. So like I'm gonna be busy, but this happens every fall, and I kind of freak out every fall because I'm like, oh God, I'm getting screeners, and oh God, like it's boxes of movies, and oh God, but like it's kind of a good endurance test, and it's kind of like yeah. So it just, I get excited for this time of year because like the weather gets colder. Like I'm not gonna lie, I hate when it's warm, and when I say warm, I mean like like 80, 85 degrees and up. Like in a perfect world, I would, I mean, you know, thanks global warming, but in a perfect world, it would always just be like 60 to 65 degrees with like a light breeze, potentially sunny, potentially sunny, and then occasionally, like every couple weeks, some rain. That would be like, if I controlled the weather, that would be what the weather would be, because I like to create when it's like kind of overcast like this and the mood is kind of set and I can like make my tea or my coffee or what have you. Like I love days like this where it's more gloomy. So yeah, again, I realize how long that answer was, but
it's just a difficult question. It's a difficult question.
Couple more questions for you. If there's a kid, and I know there will be, who's like, I want to be you, like I want to direct, I want to sing. I think, and I mean this as the highest compliment, like you are a woman like Childish Gambino to me. Like you do so much shit, and you do it.
That's an incredible
so
compliment.
well, and you do it so well that like and I don't know if you feel like this, but like I'm so happy that my friends who are creative are like great at it. Like you know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, it's
a shout out to he was in here earlier, but Josh over on the Afternoon Tune and my homie Nick. As much shit as I give them, they put out amazing content and they do it at a click that's like impressive to me. My friend Jamarco Shaw, shout out to Jamarco, who did the intro music for the podcast. Like he's an incredible musician and producer. Like I know very talented people, and I'm very happy that I'm able to like be inspired by them and be inspired by their art, and I never have to like fake hyping them up because I'm genuinely invested in what they're creating. Same with you, obviously. How do you, like, what would you tell a kid who's kind of in that ilk, who's like, I don't know if I want to be a singer or if I want to direct, maybe I want to do both, but I don't know if I can do both. Like, what's the biggest piece of advice you'd give someone who's kind of feeling conflicted about if they can do multiple things?
I think, do you mind if I just get some water really quickly? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Think about this. This is such a hard question because I feel like anyone who is naturally inclined to do something against the grain will probably not take any advice. And I also feel that that I've given so much advice to so many people in my life, knowing fully well that they can't take it because they're not ready to, by the time they're ready to take it, they will have organically learned it. I think the best thing I can say is try to live every day in a way that brings you some sort of happiness or joy. And I say or joy because they're just different things, right? But if something you're doing brings something good into your life, then continue to pursue it. I get that some days will be hard, but if you're really interested in like kind of exploring realms, don't get bogged down in ideas of security, because that's the opposite. But if security is important to you, you might not enjoy this. But it's hard to say to a kid like, hey, if security is important to you, it's just, I think try to pursue joy with as little fear and as much passion as is possible.
Okay. I love that answer. It's weird because I had someone, I've had a couple of people be like, oh yeah, how'd you get into reviewing movies? And I was like, I literally just started doing it. Like I remember I read this review for 12 Years a Slave that was so shitty. I was like, oh wow, fuck this person. And like my friend was like, oh well, then you say something about it. And I was kind of like, again, Professor Chaos. I was like, fine, I'll show you. And then like I did a review and I was like, oh, okay. And then I did another one. It's like, oh, all right. And then before I knew it, it was like something that I really looked forward to doing.
I wrote my first screenplay because of spite as well. I was angry about something. I was like, I can write a better movie than this. That's how I wrote my first screenplay.
Can you tell me what you're angry about? Like, can you talk about it a little bit?
I think I just saw a movie I thought was really shit, and I was like, I can write a better movie than this.
Do you remember what it was?
Nope. I don't remember at all. It was that bad. I was like, oh no. It was not memorable. I was like, this is ridiculous. Spite is be motivated by spite. Why not? Who's stopping you? What's wrong with it?
I think that's actually one of the biggest misconceptions is that spite is a bad thing. Like, you can get so much done creatively because of spite. Like, I will be the first to admit, one of the things that fills me with great spite is a lot of the, and I will be very specific, a lot of like Black content creators who have become grifters, and like the amount of times I've seen, like I remember, I'll use this as a specific example. I remember the amount of times I was seeing the headline or some variation of Marvel goes woke, Black Captain America, and the amount of grifters I saw going, oh my God, I can't believe they made a Captain America Black. Seeing that stuff like that motivates me in a way that I cannot even like, filled with spite. I see that shit. Like, there's this movie called Disobedience with Rachel McAdams and I'm blanking on Rachel Weisz, the girl from The Mummy. I was like sitting here, I'm like, I know who this is. Where they play two women who grew up in church together, Catholic church, grew up in the UK, and basically they were separated because they end up falling for each other, and the church was like, no, can't have that. And the amount of right-wing men in particular I saw going like, oh my God, this is like, like grooming our kids or whatever the narrative was that week, that bullshit. Seeing stuff like that every so often keeps me motivated. So it is like, to your point of like, even if one person listens, I'm like, oh, one person's listening, and maybe they'll share, maybe they'll share my opinion. Maybe they'll, share this with someone else. Maybe they'll watch this film because, they didn't know it existed, and like, oh wow, like this got put on my radar. Like, like awesome. Like,
Anger can make great art. Anger can make great art, and spite is a more nuanced kind of anger, I think, because it's very specific. You know what I mean? It's not like rage. It's like you're reacting to something very specific. It's almost kind of cerebral. If you can channel those feelings into something creative rather than destructive, that's what it's there for. It's there to be productive. It's not necessarily there to be destructive. So anyway, sorry.
No, perfectly said. Like, for those of you who want a movie reference, when James McAvoy's Professor X is telling Fassbender's Magneto to turn the satellite in X-Men First Class and to find that balance between anger and serenity. There you go. As a point of reference for those of you who've seen X-Men First Class. Last question I have for you.
Go on.
You've done so much. You've accomplished so much. We're almost at the end of the year. Is there a goal that you're looking forward to artistically, whether it's as a singer, as a director? Are you already looking ahead to 2026 in terms of like, do you kind of have a vision for what you want next year to look like?
Yes and no. I think because of the nature of the things I'm doing, I'm never really thinking more than 3 months ahead of time because everything could be turned on its head. But also, I'm applying for festivals for the first time, for music festivals, film festivals. That's already we're on that ship. But like music festivals, applying for the first time, and
yes, let's go.
And for film, I mean, trying to find producing partners for these two different films. Obviously not trying to make two at the same time, but My World at Night and The Weather Just Got Sexy, both very different in terms of genre. My World at Night being this intimate romantic dramedy set between London's underground music scene and the blue chip art world.
And then The Weather Just Got Sexy being this like absolutely crazy madcap coming of age summer comedy about like synchronized swimming, poetry, and rock and roll. And like both have a music theme,
Okay.
but one is like a crazy coming of age comedy, like with just like nonstop banter, and the other one is a sensitive romantic story. So yeah, looking for producing partners for one of these films. I mean, it's on a certain level, it kind of just depends on the zeitgeist and what people are looking to like create right now in this environment. Are they looking for the more sensitive story or the funnier story? You know,
Fair.
and it's always going to be shifting. But so that in 2026, trying to actually just get that to the next stage, finishing an album.
Hell yeah.
Halfway there, more than halfway there actually, finishing an album and God, I wish I had a better answer. I mean, I think on
No,
some
that's a
level,
great answer.
I think on some level, I would like to spend a little bit more time just being a nerd again, because I obviously grew up, like you heard my lore, I grew up as the world's biggest nerd, and I've developed a social life, which is shocking and goes against the grain in my own personal history. And I would like to spend more time just doing nerd things. Like I have some really cool roommates right now who I showed one of my roommates the Joan Crawford movie, Mildred Pierce, and it blew her
Oh,
mind.
nice. Let's
Right?
go.
It
Yeah.
blew her mind. And so this is going to be the beginning of a beautiful tradition. And I'd love to revisit films that I've like seen and loved and see them through her eyes. I think that's like, it's not a career goal. It's just a human goal. And once again, like, please, if you're listening to this, please have some human goals, because, you know, the world we live in will tell you like to be so driven to the point that you basically become a robot. But if we lose sight of our joy and our happiness, once again, joy being like super extreme and unsustainable, and happiness being something we could actually experience on a daily basis, if we lose sight of that, we lose sight of our humanity. So please feed that.
Wow. Goddamn, beautifully said. Okay, so actually, in terms of human stuff, like to piggyback off that, I want to get back to reading comics. Okay, so actually, I've never talked about this, but it's you, so
Go
we can
off.
talk
Go
about
off.
I've been working on this like I think I would do it as like an audio drama potentially. I've been working on like a Captain America story for like a couple years,
Ooh.
and so like I want to get back into comics just to kind of flesh some of the story bits out, but I have my base as far as what I want, and I kind of know where I want to go with it. And that's been something I've been really like just kind of on the back burner. Like, oh, okay, I'll like chip away at this and like here and there. But I kind of want to get back to stuff like that, like independent of reviewing. And that actually leads into I swear my last question for you. As a musician, as a director, are you able, like, is that almost a switch you have to turn off when you're consuming media? Because for me, I think that's part of my ick sometimes with listening to other podcasts. I'm just like, oh, you're doing this, or you and I have to feel like I have to almost turn off that switch to not feel like an asshole, because I don't want to like criticize every fucking thing that I'm trying to consume, because then I feel like the switch is never off. But at the same time, like sometimes I'm taking, like it might motivate me to try something, on my own end. But Alea has given me shit in a loving way about sometimes how I'll watch something just leisurely, and I'm like, oh god, like this would be like a B, and she's like, babe, you're not reviewing this. Like, I'm like, you're right, fuck, okay, I'm sorry, like I need to like is that yeah, she's out of town right now, but she actually told me to tell you hi. So
Tell
so
her I said hi. Oh my god,
I
she's
will
so
definitely
cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we love you, Leia. But is that kind of a hard thing for you to do, like in terms of like consuming maybe music or anything? Or
I can't turn anything off. Oh my god. So when I'm watching movies, I think the thing is, like, I used to have different criteria for what I thought a good movie was, and now my criteria is just simply, is it engaging? And that's
okay.
it. That's like the only thing that really matters to me, is if I can get swept up enough in it that I'm not utterly consumed by like the technical creation of the film and observing and learning from it. If I could, whatever it is, if it's the stupidest thing ever, if it's the smartest thing ever, if I can get completely consumed in it in a way that feels good and not like
because I think that also there's like too much of a glorification of like shocking and dark, like as like value
Agreed.
in and of itself. It's like people have been making this point for a long time, right? That like, oh, well, you know, just feeling something is worth it. You know, it's like it's worth it to feel something, even if that's a negative feeling. I'm like, I don't disagree with that, but also like don't erase the value of positive feelings by overvaluing that experience. Like it's I think it's actually a little bit toxic the way it's been talked about. But
I could not agree with you more.
it's necessary, but it's not. But you shouldn't invalidate other kinds of stories because of that, which I think is the tendency. Anyway, my point is just whatever it is, if I can get completely absorbed in it without thinking about the technicality of it, that's like. And then like I think like some funny examples are like the film Cruella.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it, I felt like a kid. I was so obsessed with everything about it. And I rewatched it several times. And as I rewatched it, I became very analytical about the way it was crafted, and it's interesting because it's really masterfully crafted. And the director has like this background in advertising. He's like this award-winning commercial director. And it's actually kind of incredible because it's because he's able to make something this enthralling because he's basically creating a commercial. But the thing is, it's like it's deceptive because the story is like has nothing to do with the 101 Dalmatians. It's like Vivienne Westwood fan fiction, and like it's like kind of supervillain Vivienne Westwood fan fiction. It's this totally weird alternate timeline of the 1970s fashion industry. I don't know how they made this into a Disney film, but it's like a beautiful con that they worked this in.
Yeah, it's so like because you're watching and you're like, it's a caper, but it's like very fashion forward in terms of like the costuming alone is something I'm like, if you're into fashion, you need to watch just off that because I was amazed with like what they were showing. But yeah, these fucking evil Dalmatians like kill her mom. You're like, wait, what is that?
And then just like the references on references, I mean, the nerdistry of it all, like that exact shot, that's like an exact reference to Mario Bava's Black Sunday, like all those little things that are worked in. It's so like the attention to detail, and it's done with so much love and care for what it's about. And then when you go back and you're analytical and you think about like wow, someone who makes commercials for a living can really think about how to create something that's art in a way that engages you the same way that an ad does. And that's kind of fascinating. Like that's actually beautiful when you think about it. And so that's like so for films on that level. On music, I cannot shut this off, but it's not a bad thing. But it's not a bad thing because in films, I'll spend a lot of time being like, okay, cut that scene, like this dialogue falls flat, like this shot, I don't know why they shot it like this. It's like they could have just cut to the reverse. Maybe they didn't have enough footage, like blah, blah, blah. It's like blah, blah, blah. Shut that up. That's annoying. But in music, I think I'm much more positive. I'm inherently more positive in music. And I think I'm constantly analytical, but in a happy way where I think I'm like less judgmental of music as well. I think my taste in film is pretty broad, but my taste in music is broader, I guess. Like I'm not a big fan of contemporary top 40, like, but some of it I like, but like, but I mean, I think if we're talking about music made before the 90s, I like almost everything. Like almost everything. I have an appreciation for almost every single thing I'll hear. Like, and I think like being constantly analytical about things when you're enjoying it is kind of super fun. So
I go back and forth on that because I will admit that I have these moments where I'm like, oh my God, am I being too like kids movies especially? Because I am just like, I think Hollywood, and I swear this is the last thing I'll ask you about. I realize I could talk to you for hours, but like literally been talking for hours. But I'm having
a great time. Thank you so much for having me on to talk for hours.
No, seriously, this has been such a joy. But bad kids movies has become like I didn't realize how much I hated bad kids movies until I started doing the podcast. And I have like friends who ask me, like, yeah, my kid is, 6 or 7. Like, what should I be showing them? So like one of my default answers is like, oh, Kiki's Delivery Service. That's that's
the best possible answer.
Yeah, like that, you could start them there, or you could start them with, if they're more in the horror, start them with something like Black Cauldron, start them with something like that. If they like mystery, show them something like Great Mouse Detective, or show them something. show them fucking Underdog. Underdog is a very underrated cartoon. Like show them that. Show them show them Sailor Moon Crystal. I recommend Sailor Moon Crystal quite a bit to people, and they're just like dude, real like I'll admit my anime
Sailor Moon
knowledge
is like the
is
best
not,
thing you could grow up on.
I fuck. Okay, you were talking about it earlier. For like shows you would wake up to watch as a kid. I would wake up to watch Sailor Moon at 7 because it was on it was on like UPN. It was like channel 13. I still remember this. It was like Sailor Moon at 7, and then at 7:30 it would be Garfield and Friends, and that was like my hour block to get ready and like have my cereal but still be like paying attention. And I would leave like the house at 8 and walk to school, but like that hour to start my day was always so cool. I was like, oh my god, I get to watch Sailor Moon and this awesome orange cat. But also probably reason why like I just adore cosplay so much, because like I grew up with such nerdy stuff. But last thing I will say is this week, really the last couple like months have just been really heavy and a lot. And honestly, like this conversation brought me so much, not only made me happy, but brought me so much joy. And like I really appreciate you taking the time. Like I didn't know how long we would talk. I kind of was expecting like I was like maybe probably an hour minimum, and yeah, we're closing on 2.5. This happens often when I do interviews. Like before I know it, we're an hour plus. But
I love to talk. I'll talk until you make me stop. Basically, that's for better or for worse. You know,
yeah,
some people like it, some people don't. It's fine.
Same. But like when I met you last year, I genuinely was like, oh my god, this is like Zoe's gonna be one of my favorite people. And I will say like I'll say like your social media has been inspired, and it's so cool to see like you playing these venues, and like the music, and like your output has been like fucking impressive. And I'm just hyped whenever you put something new out, and I'm just so proud of you, and I'm so happy to be a spectator to your greatness as you continue to ascend. And I really appreciate you just taking the time to talk with me today. So
thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I'm really honored to be part of this. It's a huge deal for me, and it's been super fun to just be talking about, you know, the positive things about being alive on this earth with you for these almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah, which is again so fucking wild. Before I let you go, if you could please tell people where they can find your music, where they can find you, where they can see the film. If you could please, inform the people.
Okay, my name is Zoe Greenbaum, spelled Zoe, and then Greenbaum. And if you look that up on Instagram, that is my major social media. And my band is called Zoe in Paradise. And the Instagram for that is _paradise is here _, and that's of course a reference to Tina Turner. And because I
which I love. That. Like as soon as I saw that, I was like, Zoe. Yeah, I got that.
Tina Turner song because I love her so much, and also wanted to be her growing up too. And then in my link tree, you will find links to many different things, including live videos, and where you can stream my music, and my TikTok should be in there as well. Basically, my music is all under my name on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube, what have you. I have a Vivo on YouTube for the music video for Greenhouse Edith and her Smoking Crow. My new film is still on the festival circuit. It's going to make its London, UK premiere this Sunday at the London Independent Film Festival. So if you happen to be in London, you can come to the Genesis Cinema on this Sunday the 5th. That's correct, right? Sunday the 5th. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
This Sunday the 5th at 6 p.m. at the Genesis Cinema. And I have still not publicly released my previous films, which I'm planning on doing that. But also, if you're just like,
loved hearing you talk about it. Would love to see it. Like, hit me up and I can send you a secret link. Is there something important I'm leaving out? In the link tree, like I said, there's like live videos and stuff like that. And yeah, and say hi, because I'm friendly and I like to talk.
Yeah, as someone who's met Zoe, like I'm telling you, Zoe's awesome. But
Thank you so much.
But Zoe, seriously, again, I know you're on your way to. I know you've got a lot of stuff coming up here soon. I know you're staying busy, but again, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm gonna get this posted today. But yeah, I fucking love you. I fucking adore you. Thank you so much for coming on, and you are welcome anytime. And I literally cannot.
It would be my honor to come back if you would have me. Oh my God.
I will. I absolutely will. And I legitimately cannot wait to see you perform live in person. I feel like that will be transform. Like I listen to your stuff on Spotify anyway, but I want to see. I want to see you live. Like I feel like that will be like a transformative experience. So I'm gonna get to the UK hopefully in the next 18 months. I'm gonna make it happen. But like I cannot wait to see you perform. But
thank you so much.
But yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your night, because yeah, you're at night. I'm about to hit noon. But again, thank you so much for coming on, Zoe. And yes, we will have you on again soon, I promise. Have
an amazing rest of your day, and I hope something pisses you off in just the right way that you get excited to rant about it. It's such a good feeling.
That is actually, it's funny you said. I just watched the new Smurfs movie.
Oh, go on.
So that's gonna be one of my next reviews, because I just okay, I swear this will be the last thing I bring up. I was waiting. So I love Rihanna. I think Rihanna's is an amazing artist. She's not a good voice actress, and I was waiting for an S&M like remix with like Smurf and M. Like I was waiting for them to do something like that. I was sitting there the whole movie. I'm like, oh, this is coming, and it doesn't, thankfully. But there's a bunch of other stuff that occurs that is as unpleasant. But
great.
Which just makes me appreciate your music even more, because there is not a song. I don't think there's a demo tape that you've produced that's even close to like. You at your quote worst unquote is better than any song I heard in that Smurfs in that Smurfs movie. So
that's tragic.
If you're ever having any self-doubt in the near future, just keep in mind that any of your music would fit better than what's played in that Smurfs movie. I know it's a very weird like niche compliment,
like poor Rihanna like getting like caught up in the middle of all this.
Oh, she's a millionaire. She's fine.
She deserves better. She took down Victoria's Secret. We were a country taken over by padded bras as thick as your head. And Rihanna was like, fuck that, let's be European. And all of a sudden, and it changed our entire body image idea, made it so much healthier. Like, and she was like, hey, what if every woman could have makeup that actually matched her skin in the United States? And we were like, we never thought of that. It's like, she deserves better. She's a national treasure. Like
she honestly is, and I'll be real. Like Savage Fenty makes like great shit, but again,
she's done really good things for women's self-image. She really has. It's meaningful. I mean, I get that it's a business and she's a businesswoman, but it's a business that has a soul. Like it has a purpose in our society in a more meaningful way than just making a beautiful woman very wealthy.
Since we're almost at 2.5 hours, I'm gonna riff for like we'll riff for another 2 minutes. I'm gonna try to stop this right around 2:30, because now I'm kind of locked in on that.
You ever look at billboards with pictures of Rihanna and just think like, this is probably like, if the elves from Lord of the Rings were real, this is probably what they'd really look like just way too beautiful. It's like not okay.
So I might blow your mind a little bit. Yeah. So I've seen the Lord of the Rings films. I have seen them. I don't love them. But I haven't watched them.
My mind is not blown.
But I haven't watched them since I was like in my mid-20s. So one of the things I am going to review, because like The Matrix took a couple watches for it to click with me. And then when
I know I have this haircut, but I'm not such a big Lord of the Rings fan. I've just seen the first one, and I really liked the part where the hobbits were in the Shire, and then the part where Kate Blanchett was there. But the other parts I didn't emotionally connect with so much. But I do kind of wish they would just make a sitcom set in the Shire where it's just all the Shire stuff. Like, I love the hobbits; they're so cute and great, and they're like really nice guys. And it's like everyone else in their bullshit. It's not really that interesting to me. I'm like, you guys have drama. I don't need it. Like, these hobbits are great guys. Like, I don't know why you're putting them down for being like a little short or like whatever. Or maybe they're like a little hairier than you. Like, shut the fuck up. And they have a good time. They play some tunes. They like drink and eat and have fun, and they seem cool, and they have like their fireworks and whatever. It's like great vibe, and you have to bring all your stupid cosmic drama into their peaceful existence. It's like, but then Kate Blanchett shows up in like 2 hours, and she's just like stunning, and I'm like, wow, that elf is so beautiful. She looks like Kate Blanchett, and it's like, guess who it was?
Kate. I mean, Kate Blanchett still. She's gorgeous. Yeah, it is amazing how they bring in their. It is amazing how they bring in their bullshit and just like drag them down.
What was the point? Leave them alone.
Yeah, just remember that, people. Next time missionaries go to Africa, but and you know what? I'm gonna end it off that note because I think that's a perfect little truth. I think that's a perfect little truth bomb to end it off of. But I really just wanted to take a shot at religion, to be honest, before I got out of here. But Zoe, I love you. Have a good rest of your night, and I will talk to you soon. All right.
You too. Thank you so much for having me. Bye.
Take care.